Hello everyone. Our channel updates the latest and fastest manhwa summary videos. We hope you will support us by subscribing to the channel to reach our goal of 1000 subscribers soon. I am the fated villain chapter 326. Right then, the old man started paying attention to the reincarnation altar in his hand. He was shocked to see it suddenly glowing with a weird light. A massive explosion rocked the whole place, making the sky light up like it was broad daylight. Everyone there was stunned and totally freaked out. Since they had no clue what was going on, they rushed to the eldest princess for some answers. The eldest princess was shaken too, her face turning pale as she gasped that some terrifying power had just dropped from the void. Jiaoyu stood there worried sick, stammering and asking if it was their ancestors showing up. Shaking, the eldest princess replied that this was a much higher level of power and it signaled something terrible was about to go down. Suddenly, a hand reached out, grabbed one of the ancestors by the neck, and crushed it. Right then, the ancestors looked up at the sky in shock, wondering why an ancient venerable showed up through the reincarnation altar, which was supposed to be their guide, but this old guy appeared instead. The old man's presence froze all the ancestors in their tracks. He gave a sneaky smirk and mocked how naive they were for being satisfied with such a tiny world, while revealing he'd had his eye on this land for a long time but didn't move, because they used to be too strong. Stepping out from the void, the old man declared that now was the perfect time for him to harvest this place. The ancestors finally realized they'd been played and set up from the very start. Standing nearby, Guchang teased that the ancestors finally figured out what was actually going on. They were furious but couldn't fight back or even say a word. Meanwhile, the old man was surprised and wondered who this young guy was that dared to speak up. Suddenly, the old man moved next to Guchang and happily asked if he was his successor. Guchang felt the pressure and silently observed this weird-looking old guy. The ancestors immediately spoke up to expose that Guchang had killed the real heir just to take all the resources. The old man's expression shifted for a second after hearing that. However, he quickly changed his tune and claimed he only cared about the heir's talent, not how they got the job. The old man put his hand on Guchang's shoulder and officially announced him as his successor and the one to inherit his legacy. This move totally caught Guchang off guard. He thought to himself that the old man should be said so earlier so he wouldn't have had to get ready for a fight. Realizing the old man didn't mean any harm, he immediately flipped his attitude and politely asked if he should call him master. The old man waved it off generously, saying there was no need to sweat the small stuff. Seeing this, the ancestors got incredibly angry and started cursing both of them out. One ancestor loudly blasted the reincarnation heavenly venerable for breaking his oath to the great Tao about helping them find the mysterious land. The reincarnation heavenly venerable casually replied that he'd keep his promise right now if they handed over the ancient well to him and his disciple. Guchang stood there calculating that the old man might have noticed something about him and wanted to pull him in, so he decided to stay quiet and watch. The ancestors flat out refused, saying the well was a treasure left by their forefathers and the source of their power, while swearing they wouldn't let an outsider touch it and wanted to see him fail. Seeing how stubborn they were, the old man suggested to Guchang that they each take on 3 ancestors. Guchang pulled out his sword and agreed to go along with his master's plan. Right away, the reincarnation heavenly venerable unleashed a massive aura and declared he'd crush the 6 ancestors to take the ancient well. After a huge boom, a sharp-eyed dragon charged straight at the ancestors. However, they fought back by using a giant hand from a crack in space to block the dragon. Right after, countless other red dragons kept coming, making the ancestors really worried. Another ancestor rallied everyone to go all out and fight together. Before they could even move, the reincarnation heavenly venerable appeared behind them and attacked one ancestor, while mocking him. Both sides started a super intense battle. The ancestors fought, while warning that he'd pay for daring to invade their turf. Guchang watched the fight from the sidelines, and was quietly impressed by the reincarnation heavenly venerable's power before deciding to jump in himself. Then, he summoned a bunch of powerful artifacts to get ready for the battle. From a distance, the eldest princess's group was keeping an eye on things. Seeing the chaos on the battlefield, the eldest princess ordered everyone to pull back immediately to stay safe. Looking at the destruction, she worriedly wondered if this war would completely wipe out the land. Debris was flying everywhere, and red pillars of light shot straight into the sky. Elsewhere, people looked up at the sky in terror, fearing some kind of dark power was rising. At a fancy pavilion, the young geniuses were also watching the horror unfold, feeling totally uneasy. At a library, 2 old teachers were chilling and playing a game of chess. The bald teacher suddenly mentioned it had been a while since he'd seen Guchang. The other teacher admitted Gu Change was talented, but wondered why his friend even cared. The bald teacher revealed that there seemed to be a special connection between Gu Change and He Jiao. The old man laughed out loud, and remarked that even though he didn't like Gu Change's personality, he had to admit the guy was insanely talented. Suddenly, he realized something weird was happening. Both of them looked outside and saw a terrifying blood-colored cloud appearing in the sky. The bald teacher was shocked by how huge it was and worried about what was going on. The long-bearded old man was also totally freaked out, because he'd never seen anything that bizarre in his life. Somewhere else, an elder worriedly asked the Saintess if this was a sign that creatures from the dark shadow realm were waking up. The Saintess was secretly worried about Gu Change's safety, even though he'd promised to handle everything. Still, she calmly replied that she'd go investigate the cause of the situation. On the battlefield, red lightning kept striking as if it wanted to tear the sky apart. The reincarnation Heavenly Venerable demanded the 6 ancestors hand over the ancient well if they didn't want to be completely wiped out. The ancestors shot back that the Heavenly Tao would punish those who dared to break an oath. The reincarnation Heavenly Venerable laughed it off, and explained that the Great Tao had collapsed long ago, so the oath couldn't touch him anymore. Gu Change silently guessed the old man's true goal, and wondered if there was a realm higher than immortality causing chaos in the upper realm. An angry ancestor declared that if they couldn't protect the land, they'd burn their souls to curse the ancient well. The 6 ancestors worked together to cast an ancient formation, and use their lives to curse the reincarnation Heavenly Venerable. The reincarnation Heavenly Venerable was terrified to see them using the well's power to curse him, so he urged Gu Change to hurry up and collect the water from the well. Gu Change stayed calm and replied that the curse was only aimed at his master, and didn't affect him at all. The reincarnation Heavenly Venerable was livid at Gu Change's attitude. Gu Change's actions showed how stubborn and unpredictable he was. The reincarnation Heavenly Venerable shouted at him to get moving instead of standing there arguing. An ancestor screamed in despair that it was too late, and everyone was going to die here. A cold aura of death wrapped around the 6 ancestors, and spread throughout the area. The reincarnation Heavenly Venerable gave a cold laugh and claimed that with his power of rebirth, he wasn't afraid of the curse, but just felt bad that the ancient well was dried up. At that moment, Gu Change stepped up to the ancient well and planned how to split the precious wire to keep some for himself since he realized he couldn't hog the whole treasure alone. He quickly pulled out 2 bottles to split the water, and pull off his own plan without the reincarnation Heavenly Venerable noticing.